Thanks for joining me here on Conversations for Yoga Teachers. I'm your host, Karen Fabian, the founder of Bare Bones Yoga. I'm a yoga teacher with over 15 years of experience, a certified personal trainer, and an entrepreneur. My mission is to help yoga teachers transform their teaching by mastering the fundamentals of anatomy. By learning anatomy in my easy step-by-step way, you'll be able to confidently share it in your cues, easily create sequences, and you'll eagerly answer student questions. And all along the way, you'll increase your impact and earning potential. On the podcast here, you will hear anatomy lessons, stories from teachers, interviews with others in the field, and a dose of personal development. Once you listen to today's episode, go ahead and visit barebonesyoga.com, my website, for free resource guides for teachers. Download any and all that are there, including one of my most popular tools, my sequence building template. And if you'd like, send me a one-line email with the answer to this question. What's your biggest frustration right now as a yoga teacher? And I'm happy to do some brainstorming with you in a free coaching session. My email address is karen@barebonesyoga.com. Thanks for taking the time to listen today. Let's get to today's episode. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conversations for Yoga Teachers. I am your host, Karen Fabian, and this is episode 188. So I'm recording this on Friday, June 10th, and this will most likely go up on the 13th of June, although I might actually post it prior to that. So if you're on top of all the episodes as they come out, you might be listening to it on or around the 10th. And I just wanted to pop in. I usually do weekly episodes, but I was inspired today to share. And if you listen to not the last episode, but the episode before, one of the things I mentioned was that I'm really going to be using the podcast a lot more as really just a way to communicate, a way to share, a way to exchange, a way to share information, both about anatomy, which of course is my passion, to share anatomy with yoga teachers, and also to talk about some of those, just self-limiting beliefs and things that get in our way and things that hold us back from really being the most authentic, powerful, communicative, impactful teachers that we can be. So this is really the place. If you found this episode and maybe you're new to the podcast, or if you're here and you've been a regular listener, I think I'll probably still stick with once a week episodes. I might add maybe one extra one a week, but it's really more about really leaning into this way of communicating. So of course, I'm still going to be doing daily Instagram posts, and those are videos because it's reels, and daily TikTok. So you can always get additional kind of video lessons that way. So the other thing I want to mention is, if you haven't been to my online classes, definitely come, because especially if you're a yoga teacher, there's always a good mix of yoga teachers there. Sometimes we stay after class and we have different discussions about the sequence or a posture or an anatomy question. If you're listening here and you're a yoga student, obviously that's, kind of the main reason to get together and practice. I just wanted to share that there is also that opportunity for yoga teachers to use my free classes as a way to ask questions about anatomy, to ask questions about the sequence and the cues, and to really use it as more than just practice. So definitely join. Every week I do 3 to 4 classes, and you can find them on my website, barebonesyoga.com, and the virtual class page will give you that. One other thing. If you missed this week's workshop, I collaborated with a friend of mine, Dr. Rachel Podjednik, and we did a combo workshop. I talked about movement and muscles, and she talked about nutrition and recovery. So if you missed that and you'd like the replay, just send me a DM on Instagram or email me and I will get you the replay. And it was a really cool, fun workshop. You'll also, fun fact, see my parents because they came to the workshop. I was surprised, but they both are very much into exercise and the nutrition part was of interest to them. And my dad actually has a background in chemistry. He's worked in the pharmaceutical industry for a long time. So when Rachel was showing chemical symbols in the discussion about nutrition, he was just loving it. So, but the workshop really went into different aspects of anatomy, which I covered, and then different aspects of nutrition and as it relates to muscles and fascia. So it's really relevant for yoga teachers, and I'm happy to share that with you. So just let me know, and I'm happy to share that. So I wanted to start out with a story, and this is a story of a yoga teacher that I wanted to share with you, and just kind of use it as a way to share and to see if some of what you're going to hear hits home for you. This is a story of a yoga teacher who really started out and she did not feel authentic. And I think this can be a common experience for new teachers. Your head is so full of information that someone's just given you in your training that when you start out teaching, it's natural not to really feel like yourself, which sounds weird. I know. It is part of, I think, the process of sort of finding your way as a teacher. And so this teacher definitely did not feel authentic when she began to teach. And in fact, she told me that she would stay in her car for about 15 to 20 minutes and just kind of coax herself, kind of give herself pep talks to get her motivated enough to get out of the car. And it wasn't really motivation. It was more that she was really afraid. She was really afraid of going into the studio to teach. She even shared that at one point she was asked to participate in an article that was being written about people who had left their corporate career to teach yoga or to do something else and that they were passionate about. And so she was featured in her local paper, and she was so concerned about like what she was going to wear. And when they took the photographs, like she wanted to look like she had all the quote unquote right clothes that a yoga teacher would have. And just very concerned about appearances. She shared that she taught the same sequence a lot and used the same cues all the time and really felt sort of boxed in, that she didn't have the flexibility and the freedom to really share from what she knew. She also kind of watched her mentor teaching, and at the end of class, he would have like all these students waiting to ask him questions. And she sort of wished that she had that experience after she taught. And at the same time, she was kind of terrified. Like, I don't even know what I would say if someone asked a question. She expressed to me that she felt pressure to teach in a certain way in order to kind of belong, and felt like she wasn't really popular enough. And she always, kind of worried about what her students thought of her. Like, what were they thinking? Did they think she was doing a good job? She was kind of concerned when she would teach, and she would kind of look at her students, and she was always kind of wondering, should I be sharing more? She would kind of edit her thoughts in her head. And she passed on teaching opportunities because she really didn't feel popular enough. And this was at a time when yoga was, I want to say up and coming, but it wasn't like it is today where it's sort of everywhere. And so there really was kind of that, popularity piece. And she didn't really feel popular enough. And she went to a coach, like a not a psychologist, but just like a business coach, and thought that would be a good idea to hire a coach to see if that person could help her through some of her challenges. And within a few minutes of sharing her story, the coach kind of just called her on the carpet and said, look, if you're just going to sort of share all these stories and share all these excuses why you're not doing what you want to do, you should just save your money because this isn't really going to be worth our time, either of us, especially you. And it was through that experience of kind of being called on the carpet that she started to realize that she really was using a lot of excuses. And that was really one of the big reasons that she wasn't moving forward as a teacher. And she started to shift and really own who she was. And she invested in training to really help her refine her knowledge of anatomy specifically. And she started to be sought out to teach anatomy and actually created her own program. And students started asking her questions after class. And she was having these experiences where she was sharing the anatomy rationale for her cues and a lot of her sequences and a lot of poses that students were asking about, and their eyes were lighting up. And she was just feeling this energy like, oh my God, this is everything is sort of like gelling now. Like I really didn't think it would. But once I started to piece together the knowledge with the skills, things started really happening. And so she continued to kind of move forward and create teaching opportunities. And, where there wasn't teaching opportunities that she could go after, she would sort of create her own. And she actually created her own program and started selling that. And it became, kind of a snowball effect as things started to as she started to take action, things started to happen. And, it just kind of snowballed from there. And so now she sort of looks back and she can see the path, but in the moment of feeling sort of disempowered and stuck and inauthentic, and in the moments of feeling like she didn't have the skills that she wanted, and she wasn't getting the connection with her students, she really was several times ready to sort of throw in the towel. And now she has this feeling that she's in the right place, she's sharing in the right way, things come easy, things don't feel hard. And it's really for her a matter of how can she get out there and reach more people, because she really has this passion for helping teachers get that mindset shift that she had that was so powerful. And so the story of this yoga teacher, I wonder if any of these experiences that she went through and any of what she experienced resonates with you. And I will say that, this particular teacher, if it sounds like I know a lot of what she went through, well, it's because this teacher is me. This is my story. It's framed in a little bit of a different way. It's my story though. And it's what I went through, and it's the trajectory that my path has taken me. And I wanted to share it in sort of a different way with you, because maybe you have a certain perception of how I began or what I've been through as a teacher. Maybe you sort of think that maybe I haven't been through some of the challenges that you have, or I haven't had some of the feelings that you've had. And I wanted to share this as a way to be transparent about some of the challenges and the mindset challenges that I've had, and how once I made the decision to really invest in literally understanding more about movement and being able to translate that into the skills that I needed as a yoga teacher to be effective and to be confident, that's when things started to shift. And so I want to just shift now to a little bit of a different way to think about this, because if you're out there and you're feeling any of those things that I just described, and yet at the same time you're feeling hesitant to make an investment, I want us to think about this. And I have a list in front of me. I want you to envision in your mind like a checkbook register where you've gotten a certain amount of money in the bank. So let's say you have $500,000 in the bank. And you look at your checkbook, or you look online at your bank balance, and you see that amount. And of course, we know, if we're looking at this purely from the point of view of finances, every time you write a check, every time you take money out of the ATM, every time you buy something on your debit card, money is coming out of your account. So that $500,000 balance is going down. But we're going to kind of make this the pretend world for our conversation here. And we're going to pretend that that's an account, but it's not an account where money's being withdrawn. It's an account where money is being withdrawn anytime you as a teacher are doing something that's decreasing your energy, devaluing yourself, being critical of yourself, doing something to compensate for skills or knowledge you don't have. So those are all sorts of activities that would decrease your bank balance. That would be a withdrawal from this pretend account we're setting up. And, remember, the overall idea of this is to help you see things from the perspective of all the things you may be doing that are costing you money because you're, for whatever reason, worried, scared, unwilling, afraid, feel like it's not going to work for you, whatever it is, to invest in yourself and to invest in a program that can help you fill in your learning gaps around anatomy. So let's imagine this bank balance of 500K, and now this whole idea of a teaching bank account. And these are some of the things that you might be doing that are going to withdraw from that account. Looking online for answers to your anatomy questions, that's a withdrawal. Having a lack of confidence when you teach, that's a big withdrawal. That's going to be a lot of money that you're going to take out of the account. Listening to that critical voice in your head, that's definitely a withdrawal. Every time you kind of use that critical voice with yourself as a teacher, you second guess yourself, and you can even be doing this while you're teaching, that withdraws from that account. Not going after new teaching jobs, that's literally costing you money because you could earn money if you went after those jobs. Not creating or hesitating to create the teaching jobs that you want, and that's also a withdrawal, literally, because that's something you could do that could bring in revenue. Second guessing yourself. When we second guess ourselves, that's a withdrawal. That's not only just withdrawing energy, it's also just the mental energy of we're second guessing, was that the right thing to say? Or should I be saying this? You know how that goes. Spending more than 10 minutes building a sequence. Like, honestly, you want to be able to just walk in the room, have a theme in your head, and just go. No notes, no notebook, no whole something written out. Like, I saw in a Facebook group recently what this teacher wrote out for a sequence. Unreal. No way you're going to be able to stick to that. And it just locks you in, and it takes so much time to create. So that's a big withdrawal. Spending time on YouTube, scrolling through videos, looking for answers to your questions, going down that rabbit hole, that's a withdrawal. Feeling like you use the same cues over and over, just that feeling of feeling like you're using the same thing over and over again. It doesn't feel good, right? So that's an energetic withdrawal. Feeling bored with your teaching. Oftentimes we feel bored when we lack the ability to be creative. And so that's a withdrawal from the account too. That's a cost of inaction. Wondering if your students are bored in class. All of those thoughts that are around that is withdrawing from the account. It's basically you worrying about what other people think. Hesitating. Sorry, guys. Hesitating when a student asks you a question. That hesitation, that second guessing, that wondering if you're going to give them the right answer, that is a cost of inaction. That's a withdrawal from the account. Wouldn't it be great if you could just confidently have that conversation to help them out? A big one here, not being sure of the anatomical reason for your cues. Not being sure of the anatomical reason for your cues. You might as well just be up there saying whatever, because if you don't understand the why behind what you're saying, really, what's the point of sharing it? So now that we've gone through the things that cost you money, that withdraw from that bank account, let's reframe it in a much more positive, powerful way. Let's look at it from the point of view of what would it be worth to you if you could feel confident, if you could feel connected to your students, if you could easily and quickly build sequences, if you could know the why behind the cues that you use, if you could create the teaching gigs that you want, if you could share confidently on social media and build a true following, if you could know the rates for the services you provide unequivocally with no apologies, just state them. If you could teach regular classes and have a full schedule, and if you could answer student questions confidently. So this is what's possible when you invest. This is what's possible when you invest in yourself. All of those things that I just mentioned. Now, of course, the first step, right? The Stephen Covey begin with the end in mind. The first step is to know, well, what to invest in. So, part of this is to do a self-assessment. And I've done several episodes where I've done self-assessments, where I've shared self-assessment tools. And part of really the first step is identifying, what is my learning gap? What is preventing me from taking action? What is causing me to have these second thoughts, second guessing myself, lack of confidence, lack of skill? And I can only share from the experience of so many yoga teachers that I've spoken to, that their lack of understanding of the movement, which of course is the anatomy, is the missing piece. And so as you're listening to this episode, if this is hitting home for you, if you're like, yes, 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 this is me, then all you need to do is take that step forward. And rather than continuing to be in that area, that bucket of cost of inaction and absorbing all those costs and making all those withdrawals from this imaginary bank account that I just laid out, wouldn't it be better to invest a little bit in yourself so that you can gain all of these things of value? I don't even want to say that's the trade-off. That's what a smart investor does. They spend a little bit, they invest a little bit in themselves to get big gains on the back end. And so as I wrap up this episode here, I want to just share with you what I sort of did a little bit of a sneak peek of in the episode, not just the last one, the one before, where I shared a little bit about the revamping of my program. So the Yoga Anatomy Blueprint Learning Program, for years, and dozens of teachers having gone through it, and so many great testimonials from these teachers about how it's literally changed the path of their teaching and given them so much confidence in their teaching. The program, for years, I've sold it as you invest in the program. And recently, I've started to think of a different format that would allow you, if you didn't feel ready or able to invest in the full program, would allow you to do more of a self-study version. Now, I can certainly tell you, in my experience in sharing this program for a number of years now, the real value comes from the coaching calls. And so I'm always going to offer a full program that gives teachers access to the course and the coaching calls with me, the anatomy manual, and the practice portal, which has all sorts of sequences in it. However, I recognize that for some teachers, they're not ready, for whatever reason, to make that level of investment. The program itself is $1,997 for everything, and includes all the steps necessary to get you all the things that I just shared. Now, obviously, there's no guarantee. You have to put in the effort, but the program with me is completely designed to get you where you want to go based upon all the things I just shared. So if you were listening to that whole thing and you were like, yes, 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 then this program is for you. So in just thinking about different ways to format it to sort of meet people where they're at, if you're unable to make essentially a $2,000 investment in yourself, although maybe you are, which is fabulous. I mean, what a great way to acknowledge yourself is, and $2,000 is still much less than a full teacher training program, where you're not oftentimes walking away with actual critical skills. I mean, teacher training programs are great for knowledge. Unfortunately, they're not always great for building the skills that come with the knowledge. This program is completely different because you're getting both the knowledge and the skills. And again, the skill building definitely comes in large part from the coaching calls with me. However, what I am doing, like literally within the past week or so, I've pulled together a kind of a additional opportunity or offer. And it's more of a self-study path. And it essentially gives you access to the course and monthly workshops that I'm going to start doing this month. I'm no longer going to do free workshops where people just come and just get, whatever the random topic of the day is. I want to collaborate, not so much collaborate. I want to connect with teachers who are really invested in their learning. And in a way to acknowledge that investment, I want to create a series of workshops that really take a deeper dive into topics and provide topics in a sequential, logical way, rather than one time you come to a workshop and we're talking about this, next time you come to a workshop, we're talking about that. That doesn't really serve you. Although it's really how most teachers are learning. They're just kind of popping from one free workshop to the next and just sort of staying in that free zone. So what I've created is a monthly membership. So for $59.99 a month, you'll get access to the course part of my program and these monthly workshops. And of course, if you invest in the full program, you'll also get access to the monthly workshops. So all the teachers enrolled either in the full program or the self-study track will now get access to a monthly curriculum of ongoing continuing education through workshops that I host. If you want to be part of that, it's no longer going to be accessible in the free world, in the free zone. It's only going to be accessible to members of the Blueprint Learning Program or to fully enrolled students, meaning teachers, fully enrolled teachers. So you can do the $59.99 a month option, go through the course on your own and come to the monthly workshops, or you can invest in the full program and then you get the advantage of the coaching calls with me and the other benefits, the anatomy manual and the practice portal. So these two offers are currently on my website. If you go to the website, barebonesyoga.com, right on the homepage, you're going to see an option to book a call with me or to enroll in the program. And when you click the button to enroll, you'll see you have two options, the $59.99 a month or the full investment. Now, I'm going to close by telling you this. If you've listened to this entire episode and you are still listening and you are interested and you're just feeling a little unsure, when you go to my website, just click the button to book a call with me and book a call with me. And I promise you, if you take the effort to book a call with me to discuss what your goals are, so I can find out a little bit more about what you want to do and what some of what's holding you back, I will give you an incentive to enroll. I will give you an incentive to enroll that's up to 50% off the full enrollment investment, the full enrollment price. So there's a huge investment or incentive for you to book a call with me and have that conversation so that you can decide if this is the right step for you. And I can share the benefits and value of being part of this experience. If, however, you're listening, you're like, you know what, $59 a month, I can access the course itself. I can go through that on my own, and then I can access this exclusive monthly curriculum of workshops where we go more into a deep dive mode on different topics in anatomy. That's a no-brainer. So you can just do that. You can just do that today. So those are the two options, and this completely relates to everything that I've shared on this podcast. This idea of if you do nothing, there are several costs to that. And if you invest in yourself in a way where you're making an investment in something that fills in a learning gap that you have, then the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. So as my mentor and coach said to me today, which really touched me, in an email. My mentor wrote, "I believe in you." And I'm going to end this episode by saying to you, the listener, I believe in you. I believe in you. Even though I don't exactly know who's listening and I don't know exactly your situation, I believe in you. And that always comes through in all the conversations and emails and communications I have with anyone, especially with the primary type of person I love to connect with, which is yoga teachers. And so I do believe in you, and I would love to hear from you and connect with you and find out how I can help. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I can't wait to chat again on the next episode. Thank you so much for listening, and namaste. Hi there. Well, you made it to the end of the episode, and now you're listening to the outro, which is amazing. Thank you so much for staying all the way until the end. So I want to just let you know that I just the other day put on my website on the events page a really cool and short, it's like 20 minutes, recorded workshop that I've done. And it covers the topic of how to provide effective cues. And this is something that I get asked about all the time. So I wanted to do a special recorded webinar workshop that you could listen to, you can watch, because it is an actual visual workshop, as if you were there with me in the studio, or you could just listen to it. I think it's going to be better if you actually watch it. So how you get to this is super easy. You just go to my website, which is barebonesyoga.com. And on the events page, you're going to see the schedule for the events I'm holding on any particular month. And right on that page, you'll see a link to watch the automated webinar. And I like to call them workshops because in the teacher world, yoga teacher world, that's what we call these deep dives we do into different topics. And this one is no different. So just hop over there, barebonesyoga.com, go to the events page. You can watch this webinar that I recently recorded. Here we are in the middle of 2022, and it's got some really cool ideas and strategies that you can use to really build your confidence in your cueing. So once you watch that, if you have any questions, of course, just reach out to me and let me know, and I'm happy to hop on a call with you and answer whatever questions you might have. Namaste.